You want to know what's really fucking insane to me? There are people out there who don't have anxiety. There are people out there who can go about their day and not have that like anxious feeling. That is so fucking insane. And they've never experienced it. But I was like, okay, let me talk to you guys about my anxiety journey, because fucking A, have I had a journey with anxiety. When I was in 8th grade, I had my first ever panic attack, and I dead ass thought I was dying. Like, I went to the nurse's office and I was like, this is the end of me. Like, Nurse Jackie, like, call my mom, tell her to like book the funeral. I was in 8th grade. I was fucking 13 years old. I had no idea anything about anxiety. So when you have a panic attack for the first time and you have absolutely no idea what's going on, all I knew it was like, I just need to get the fuck out of school. Mom picked me up and she's like, oh, you just had a panic attack. Like, you're good. Ever since that first panic attack, I would always have a consistent panic attack in my math class when I was in 8th grade. And that stupid fucking would never leave, the teacher would never let me leave the classroom. Like, while I'm having a panty, she was like, no, like, sit in your seat. Bitch, I can't even feel my toes. Like, what the fuck? After those panic attacks, I genuinely struggled going to school, and like I literally didn't want to go to school at all anymore. So my mom enrolled me in an outpatient treatment program, like learn techniques of how to go through with anxiety, how to deal with panic attacks, how to do all those things. And I like missed kind of the rest of my 8th grade year. I fully was just like in outpatient learning to cope with anxiety and depression. My first day of freshman year comes around. I think I'm fully fucking healed from like I learned about anxiety and those moments. There's just like a couple that really stick with me. Number one, and if this is wrong, I don't want to fucking hear it because it helps me get through the days. Like genuinely, like don't correct me if this is wrong. Like I will genuinely send you hate comments and I'll ruin your life, but a little bit rude. Scientifically, panic attacks cannot last more than 10 minutes. So it's like, you just have to sit with that panic attack feeling for like 10 minutes and then you're good, honestly. That just, I don't know, for some reason in the back of my head that always stuck with me. I was like, okay. All the medication they gave me really only worked short term. Like it really wasn't great for me long term. Great for my OCD, just really didn't help that much with my anxiety. Here are just some things I incorporate to my daily routine that really help with my anxiety. Number one, working out. Working out for me has become so much less about what I look like physically and so much more just like a mental thing for me. It honestly just feels like I just gotta release. I do wake up very anxious, so I just gotta like release that anxious energy. Sorry, I get like really mad when I can't talk. I just gotta release that anxious energy super early in the mornings, which I'm like, thank fucking God. Like I just need to start my day with that. And it honestly has just improved my overall mental health. Try and stay away from too much caffeine, which is just so fucking hard for me because I'm literally a coffee addict. Like it's so, but like a lot of caffeine and a lot of sugar, I really do try and stay away from that because I know it just heightens my anxiety. Oh, another really big thing for me is like I need to make sure that I am fed, because if my blood sugar, is it your blood sugar? I don't know what the fuck it is. If that is high and I'm like, it just makes my anxiety so much worse. So like if I haven't, say like I go like a couple hours without eating, my anxiety gets worse because I'm just like craving fucking food. So like feeding myself is so important, and it really helps with just my anxiety overall. Like I just have to make sure that I'm fed. I also think it's so important to remind yourself that like you're not alone. I feel like anxiety, it feels so fucking lonesome and you're just like, what the hell is this feeling? Like what is this? And it's just like a good reminder to be like, okay, so many people struggle with this. I don't know, that really helps me where I'm like, I'm not the only one. Because for a while I was like, I'm the only bitch in America that struggles with anxiety. Like that's how isolating it felt for me. So it's like, it is such a good reminder. It's like, you're not alone. So many other people are feeling the exact same way you feel, and I know those feelings can feel like foreign and like weird as shit. You're like, what is this? And it's like, it's okay. Other people also feel this way. I think finding a routine and just finding a way and do things that really help with your anxiety every single day. I do like a good exposure therapy of like, that's mainly for my OCD. If like I'm just like hesitant because I'm like, it's my OCD or like my anxiety, it just makes it really bad when I do these things. I like to face them. Like I used to have really bad flight anxiety. The only way that I could really get over my flight anxiety was getting on that motherfucking plane. Take it day by day, step by step. Because like there was a point in my life where I genuinely couldn't get out of my bed for an entire year. And now I'm here. So it really just was like taking it day by day. If you're struggling with anxiety at all, know that you're not alone, number one. Number two, it'll get better. I like honestly promise it will get better because I know how it feels like it'll never get fucking better. It will get better.
Ladies, friends with benefits. Does it work? Does it not? Let's talk about it. Now, I used to think that yes, you could absolutely be friends with benefits, hook up with somebody with no feelings involved. And I had one of these arrangements in high school with this guy, and it was going really good up until he met somebody else that he actually wanted to be with, and we ended things. Which I'm not gonna lie to you, it didn't really bother me that much because I was not looking for anything serious, and he ended up looking for something serious, so whatever. And typically I like to make these arrangements with athletes because the less time that they had for me, the better. And I know that sounds really bad, but I just didn't want to get involved with somebody who was like super needy, and I really didn't even need to be friends with them. In fact, that was part of my rules: no stayovers, no pillow talk, and we were only doing this with each other. If you wanted to do it, you know, this arrangement with somebody else, then you needed to end things with me first. And in college, I had an arrangement with this guy. He was a hockey player. He was really cute, and he treated me with respect, and he like followed all my rules. He checked up all my boxes. Things were going well. He would come over, we would do what we do, he would leave, or I would leave, and things were going great. Nobody really knew. It wasn't really like I was trying to keep it a secret, but I also didn't want to advertise it because I didn't want to like give myself a reputation, I guess. Also, maybe one of the reasons I'm like this is because I have severe mommy issues. So my mom was going through like some really crazy stuff at this time, and a lot of people who I went to high school knew about this stuff, but there was only like 1 or 2 people who went to my college who knew about my mom, and I did not want what my mom had going on getting out because it was really embarrassing. And obviously I didn't talk to my hookup friend about this because that was a part of the rules. You know, we don't talk personal about stuff like this, okay? But the more and more him and I started like hooking up, or kept hooking up, the more and more lines and feelings and things were starting to get blurred. One of my guy roommates, I think, might have had like this thing for me, and so that made things awkward when my hookup friend would come over because I was trying to keep it a secret because I didn't really want everybody to know, and it was just, the walls were starting to cave in, okay? And when we would like hang out at parties, we'd be there at the same time, but we would like wouldn't hang out together at the parties, and I would see like girls flirting with him and like touching all over him, and I just like had no reason to get jealous because that was part of our agreement. As long as he wasn't taking things further with them, I really didn't say anything. And then my ex, hookup, friends with benefits, whatever, shows up in town. Things just get a little bit more awkward.
Instead of helping me, Deborah and Bob both jumped to comfort the baby, who was crying, and left me at the bottom of the stairs. My legs were fine, but I was wobbly because of the shock, and asked one of them to help me up. After nearly 10 whole minutes of being ignored, I managed to stand up on my own and hobble through to the living room. I sit down, and Deborah says, quote, "What happened to you? Are you okay?" I'll admit, I saw red. I just said, "I fell down the stairs. Didn't you hear me calling you for help?" Deborah's eyes widened, and she said she was too busy fussing over the baby. After an hour, my arm was swelling up, and I was taken to the hospital. Luckily, it was nothing serious, and recovery time would be quick. After my boyfriend got home and his parents left, I told him I no longer want their help after today's events. I can manage on my own, even though it'll be hard. He was taken aback and said they've done a lot for us. I said I appreciated it all, but they ignored me crying and calling them for help for 10 minutes after I fell down the stairs. They didn't care about me, only the baby, and I was embarrassed I didn't see it sooner. He called his parents to let them know we wouldn't need their help anymore, and his dad said, quote, "Is it about today? We really didn't hear her." My boyfriend just told them they're invited to the Sunday roast this week, and that's all. I could tell he was not happy about my decision, but he said he went along with it because I'm the mother.
That's good.
Fast forward to Sunday, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are guests as well. Sister-in-law has a 3-year-old and is totally on my side, but brother-in-law is not. He told me to, quote, "be grateful to his parents for their support, as they're significantly more well off than my parents, and
Okay, that's rude.
paid for many newborn/infant expenses and plan to pay for many more as the baby grows." Since then, Deborah keeps calling, asking if we need any help, and says she feels awful not seeing the both of you and that she misses the baby. Am I the asshole for not wanting them helping me in my day-to-day life?
This one is 100% not real. I'm gonna be
Did you
honest
have
with
issues
you.
finding like ones that
Yes.
could be perceived as real? Yeah, because I think there's some in mine that are also like, I don't believe these.
If this is real, if you are like a young person and your friends fucking
Are saying this
talk
shit.
like this, I want to know that this exists, that people like this exist.
Okay, all right.
Okay, am I the asshole for assuming my friends were paying for my birthday meal?
Okay.
This happened a few days ago, and I've been conflicted since. Before my birthday, 5 of my friends asked if I would like to get some food and drinks out for my birthday event. I said, sure, where would we go? Mike said, anywhere you like.
Okay.
I suggested a nearby steakhouse that I've been to in the past. We all met each other there. Mike was quick to order himself a drink and started talking about appetizers. I said I don't normally eat them, but I will try one. We ordered our mains, and we all had ordered the steak and another round of drinks, at which point Adam also ordered a bottle of champagne.
Oh my god.
I said, you guys don't need to get me champagne. It's only my birthday. Nothing too special. When Mike said, lighten up, birthday boy. Have some fun.
Okay, all right. This is okay. I kind of
Maybe one of these?
Yeah, one of these is like.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
maybe one of these little quips?
Yeah, you know how guys be
He's
like.
full of quips.
He's full of quips. He's one of those guys. Yeah.
I did think maybe I was being too uptight. And since I was being treated, it's not too big of a problem. I may as well celebrate. Mike started arguing with the table next to us because they threw a French fry at him.
Oh my god. What's going on at this restaurant? Yeah, you're right, this is fake, but if this was real, like, none of this is
fake.
acceptable behavior, yeah.
This is like what an 8-year-old thinks happens at restaurants.
Yeah, everyone has a food fight afterwards.
Everybody had a food fight. I tried to explain to him that they weren't even eating French fries. He had them earlier and must have dropped one.
What is going on? Why are you starting me off with this? This is like
It's so fun.
I get, I'm sorry.
I chose this one at random.
I'm okay. You chose this one at random.
Originally, I
I'm
was
sorry
supposed to
that
do this
sometimes I
last.
feel like I fucking jam the first story that I do is like fucking crazy as shit. Because now I'm like, oh god damn it, I'm paying the price. That's some
What a
meta
price to
gaming that
pay.
I've now doing. But yeah,
Yeah.
God.
Then he stood up and started swearing at the table. There was a child at the table about 3 years old who looked absolutely shocked. I told Mike to sit down and he started pushing me, saying, that man threw something at me. The waiter came over and said there had been complaints against us. Mike just silently drank his beer and Adam started arguing with the waiter, saying the other table started it. The waiter said we needed to pay up and leave in the next few minutes before there was a problem. I said, thanks guys, do you want me to help pay? At which point they all looked at me and Adam said, you're the birthday man, right? You got money. I said, I thought you were inviting me because it's my birthday as a present. Adam chuckled a bit and said, weren't you the one that shows where we were going, bud?
But it's your birthday. You get to pick where you go. If this was real, yeah, this
is my
the
favorite part.
birthday. Okay.
Adam got up to leave and said, let's go, boys. I started to worry. I thought they were pranking me or
so
something.
Fake. This is the fakest thing I've ever read. I've ever had read to me. What are you doing? What are you doing, guy?
Let's go, boys.
This party
is a
bus.
real human.
This
for
party
sure.
bus is leaving, guys. Time to drop off Tilted Towers. You know what I'm saying?
Let's blow this popsicle stand.
Yeah.
I started
Make
to
like a tree and leave.
make like a tree and get out of here. I started to worry. I thought they were pranking me or something and said, you can't really go. Then Adam started to walk away, so I grabbed him a bit and he looked at my hand and said, get your hand off me, pal. I just looked at him and said, why are you acting like this, man? They walked out and left me with a bill.
What the fuck is this story? This is, I
tried to
I
explain.
don't know if it's the caffeine from drinking 9 coffees. I don't know if it's my pill that I took actually this fucking morning like I'm supposed to. What is going on? I feel like I'm hallucinating like this podcast right now.
This one's not real. It's not going on.
This is weird. See, that's the interesting thing about fake stories, that there's nuggets of like, I can see this happening where like you're upset about money.
Yeah.
Like you're upset about like, like being, because I do think people don't take birthdays seriously.
No,
100% agree with that. I think there is but the shit of like, I'm just gonna leave the restaurant and you gotta pay for it.
Get your hands off me, bud. Let's go,
Yeah.
boys.
There's like those little things like, okay, no one does that.
No. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they do.
Storytime about how my husband keeps borrowing money from me and now wants access to my bank accounts. What should I do? Disclaimer, this is not my storytime, it's not on my Instagram. My husband and I have been married for 6 years. When we first got married, we were really young, so we were living with our parents. We didn't actually move out from my parents' house up until 2 years ago. In fact, I don't think we're actually adults yet. We both still act like we're teenagers. I'm 24 and he's 25. I recently got myself a really good job. He, on the other hand, has never had a really good job. He does a lot of odd jobs here and there, a lot of catering. He also models because he's extremely good looking. working. So now that I got myself a job, I wanted to get my own apartment. But of course, I have to include my husband because we're married. He actually ended up getting an okay job. We decided to split the rent and everything was going fine. But then he got laid off, and this is when things started going bad. He started asking me for money because he wasn't getting paid anymore. Every now and then he would ask me for like $10, or he would ask me for my debit card. At first it was just small purchases like going to the supermarket or going to Starbucks. So I gave him my card. One day I'm checking my bank account and I realized that he bought himself a $600 watch. You'll never guess what he said when I confronted him. Part 2 is story time about how my husband keeps borrowing money from me and now wants access to my accounts. What should I do? Disclaimers, not my story time. Send me on Instagram. When I confronted him about buying a $600 watch with my money, he told me that he has every single right to use my money as much as I do. And even though I'm the one earning the money, he is my husband, so he can do whatever he wants with it. I got so angry I picked up one of my crystals and threw it right at his head. Luckily it missed him, but it did scratch his ear. He went berserk and accused me of trying to kill him. He ran over to the ER with a scratch on his ear. Went straight to my parents' house and I told them what was happening. Obviously my parents agree with me that he should not be spending $600 of my money on a stupid watch. And they told me to take away any access he had to my money. So I took away my debit card and my credit card from him. Both ended up apologizing to each other, so for a few months it was okay. He had a few jobs, so he had some spending money for himself. But then he got fired again. That's when he asked me politely to add him to my bank account so that he could get his own debit card from my account. To be honest, at first I thought it was okay. But I didn't say yes or no. I called my parents and they told me absolutely not. And when I told my husband, he threatened to divorce me. He says that I'm neglecting his needs. Part 3 is a story time about how my husband keeps borrowing money from me and now wants access to my bank accounts. Disclaimer, is not my story time. Send me on Instagram. That's when he threatened to divorce me because I wouldn't give him access to my checking account. He said that I was neglecting him. That's when he told me that if the tables were turned, he would be expected to give me money. And you know what? Totally true. At the same time, I can't allow him to just buy $600 watches. He then made a promise to me that he would only use the money for necessities. So for example, paying bills or anything like that. Although we already have our bills on auto pay, so I'm not sure how that would work. So I took him to the bank and I added him to my account. I know you all must think I'm so stupid right now. And you know what? I am. 2 days later after he got his debit card, I checked his bank account and he had signed up to 3 different OnlyFans accounts. That's a total of $50 a month coming out of my paycheck plus all the things that he buys on the website. I confronted him again and he told me that it was just for fun. And that because I'm at work and he's home alone, he needs something to entertain himself with. Then he told me that if he didn't have the OnlyFans accounts, he would probably end up just cheating on me. And then he asked me, what do you prefer, me watching stuff online or me actually going out and finding women? This is where I need your help. I see his point, but I'm not sure if this is like manipulation or something. He really seems so genuine and he's always doing my laundry, cooking, and cleaning up for me. Even rubs my feet when I get home from work. And I haven't told my parents about this. I think they'll hit the roof. Should I let him have access to OnlyFans and use my money? Or should I put a stop to it and risk him cheating? What should I do?
The story is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Blowing Up on My Fiancé in Front of His Family for Getting My Daughter's Cat Out of the House? I, female 35, got engaged to my fiancé, Eric, male 37, 2 months ago. He moved in with me and my daughter, Zoe, female 13. Everything was going well till he started complaining about Zoe's cat, which is strange because the cat is so sweet and quiet most of the time, and so I had no idea what the issue was exactly. Anyways, he went from complaining about the cat to making demands about her. He gave Zoe a list of places the cat can or can't go, things she's allowed to touch, banned her from places like the kitchen and sofa, Zoe's favorite place to cuddle with her cat. Zoe showed me this list and I had an argument with him, telling him he needed to stop this because it was ridiculous. Okay, we'll do this for the list. He ranted about this being his house too and how he expects things to change after we get married. A few days ago, I was at work and got a call from Zoe crying, saying her cat wasn't in her room or in the house. I freaked out too and went home to look for her. Zoe and I looked for 2 hours before a neighbor of ours brought her and told us that he saw Eric leaving her outside and getting in his car and leaving. I was surprised and quite angry. Zoe took her cat and went back inside. I immediately drove to my future in-laws' home where Eric said he'd be. The second I saw him sitting with his family, I went off and blew up at him in front of everyone. His mom asked what was happening and I told her that her son got my daughter's indoor cat outside the house, probably hoping for her to get lost. He argued about wanting me to stop spouting nonsense and go home and we'd talk there, but I refused. It got worse and I ended up leaving after his family flipped out at him. Good, the family flipped out at him. He sent a bunch of texts talking about the stunt I pulled in front of his family. He said that he didn't mean to leave the cat out, but after checking the cams, I confirmed it. He still insisted that I humiliated him in front of his family and tried to turn them against him. He's been staying with a friend and has stopped calling and texting. Am I the astronaut for blowing up on him in front of his family? Hell no. We talk about this a lot. People who get exposed typically don't react well to getting exposed. And this whole "you didn't have to do this in front of my family" thing is just, he sees it as ammo, right? He's trying to gain any kind of leverage he can to be like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done it this way." Like, "Oh, it was an accident." Dude, there are cameras. You probably should have known that already. You should have known you were going to get busted in here. But this was just one small thing in this long list of bullshit that he's trying to force now. It's a package deal, man. First of all, when they started dating, like, it's a blended family, and that includes blending animals too. Like it or not, you're accepting everyone within this space, especially since he moved in with her. They got engaged 2 months ago. He moved in with me and my daughter, Zoe. He moved into her space, thereby accepting everything that went along with it there. He accepted everything about this family that he was blending himself with whenever he decided to move in there and get engaged and continue this relationship. You don't get to just walk in the door and be like, "Things around here are about to change. There's a new sheriff in town." This cat, by the way, creating boundaries for a cat is about the dumbest frickin' thing I've ever heard of. In a house, like, a cat is not allowed to go in this room. How do you plan to achieve that, sir? You're going to create some kind of wireless shock collar boundary thing, so if the cat tries to go in this room, they get shocked? Like, how are you going to explain to the cat and train the cat that it can't go in this room, can't sit on this, can't touch this? It is uber unreasonable. And for you, OP, this is a precursor. This is a preview to what married life is going to be. Unreasonable demands, unreasonable expectations. Throw him in the litter box. He's a turd. Not the asshole at all. We already did that. This guy, maybe I'm just throwing people to AskCon 1 too quickly here, but this guy's an AskCon 1. For acting this way, for trying to gaslight you, for using blowing up at him in front of his family as some kind of ammo to leverage here. It's all stupid. Even his family agreed with you, so yeah, he's an idiot. And also this.
Am I the asshole for changing the lock so my landlord can't enter? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 31 male, have a breaking and entering charge from trying to enter my ex-girlfriend's place to take back some of the stuff she took when we were breaking up, like my bedding and CDs. She called the cops and I got unfairly charged and prosecuted. Because of this, I couldn't find a place to live, and I also have old DUIs, but I'm 3 years sober. Also, my insurance for any vehicle is insanely high to the point it's cheaper to get Ubers to get around. So I needed a place that was near work, and it's been almost impossible to find one. Finally, I found a woman who was renting out a basement suite, but she wanted a non-smoker and asked me 3 times. I said I didn't smoke because I was desperate for a place and I wouldn't smoke inside. But she came without giving me a proper notice. She gave me a 15-hour notice, not a 24-hour notice, and saw cigarette butts on the steps of the place from when I was smoking outside and freaked out and demanded that I leave. I wanted to sign for a year, but she refused to, only signing me for 3 months because of my credit. Am I the asshole for changing the lock so my landlord can't enter? Disclaimer, this is not my story. She forced me to let her into my apartment to check for damage, even though I reassured her I didn't do any smoking inside. I did use my brother as a reference because I didn't have great luck with having a good relationship with previous landlords. And she found out later he was my brother and threatened legal action for using a fake reference, but he wasn't fake. I did pay rent to him a few years ago. She began checking on the place every 2 weeks, claiming she was checking for damage, even though I said I would leave after my lease was up. I then started seeing this girl I was interested in, and we began dating after a few months. The landlord showed up to my place again to inspect the place, and she and my girlfriend started talking. She told her I had a breaking and entering charge and a DUI. My girlfriend then stopped talking to me because of that. I'm sure it's illegal for her to tell my personal information like that, so I changed the locks to the place and refused to let her in. She sent me a letter starting the eviction process, and I'm sure it will take months to evict me, and it will make it even harder for me to find a place to live.
Story time when I almost got essayed. This is not my story. I am currently a 24-year-old girl, and about 2 years ago I went on a date with the guy who kept insisting. He was really sweet over text, and he would always want to pay for my nails, and every time he offered, I accepted. I stopped accepting the money as soon as he requested for explicit pictures. I had a really good job, so I didn't need his money at all. It disgusted me and honestly made me lose hope into finding a genuine guy. He would try messaging me numerous of times, and by the 3rd month of him insisting, I gave in. I drove to his house because I don't like anyone knowing where I live, especially if I didn't know him. I got to his house, and when I saw him, he was really handsome. When I got to his apartment, it smelled like dogs. His mattress was on the floor, and he wanted his dog inside the room with us. He started to be strict, and I got turned off. Go to part 2. Part 2, when I almost got essayed by my date. This is not my story. I finally meet up with this guy who's been insisting for 3 months. As soon as I got into his studio, I was completely turned off. Besides his room smelling like dog, it felt wet and humid, so I was turned off. He started wanting to kiss me and touch me, but his dog was in the room. I told him to put his dog in the kitchen, but he didn't listen. He took off his pants, didn't even try to kiss me, or touch me, or be gentle. He wanted me to start off with giving him head, and his private parts stunk. It stinked so bad, and I told him that I wasn't interested no more, that I wanted to leave. He was being super rude, saying like, I should have never sent you money for your nails. I should have never waited for this. There's way better girls than you. I'm the lamest girl he ever hanged out with. Honestly, I knew not to trigger him or say anything back to him because I was scared. I honestly thought if I said something mean, he would hit me and keep me there in his studio. I quickly put my dress back, my sweater. I knew not to bring valuable things with me, and I left my purse in my car. So the more I was talking to him, the more he sounded insane. He was being completely rude, and then he started sobbing, saying that he was sorry. He pinned me to the wall and tried to kiss me hard. I started crying, and I told him no, to please get off of me. He said, why are you crying? There's nothing to cry about. This guy wasn't as strong, and he was my height. But I was scared that he wasn't going to use his hands. He was going to use an object to hit me. I was acting completely understanding and super nice so he could walk me to my car. He grabs me by my jacket and forces me outside his house. He was so confused, he didn't know what to do. He kept apologizing numerous of times, and basically to my car there was a long dark hallway. He was blocking my way to go to the street and then to my car. He kept apologizing, saying he's sorry, if I can give him another chance, but I said no. He asked me when he was gonna see me again, and I said maybe next week. I was fucking lying. I was so scared, but I was playing this game where I just acted super nice to him so he would let me go. When I was trying to open my car, he closed the door super hard and he injured my hand. He said this is what I get for being fucked up to him and not letting him hit. I didn't say nothing. I got into my car and I locked it. I turned my car on and I freaking left, blocked him on everything. Since I left and didn't let him hit, he said he knew where I live and he was gonna send people to whoop my ass. Ever since that, I've noticed that I've came across a lot of guys like that. I'm definitely more careful.
Pineapple. Wild berry. Original. Cherry.